Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Duval Dive. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game.
I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
And you're listening to this thing on the Believe Podcast Network. Travis, real quick, I know we have our intro, and we're going to change it out soon enough here as we get into the off-season things and all that. But that opening hit where Allen hits, or no, that's Britton Strange, I think. I forget who it is. Hits the guy, and then Walker Little just kind of looks down at him. Has started to make me laugh every time. I don't know. You'll know what I'm talking about if you rewatch the intro there, but let's get right into it. Obviously, more coaching things happening in and around the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously, we're going to go through giving defensive and special teams player and coach grades in this edition of the episode, or this edition of the dive here, which, by the way, if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, good for you. You get to see the fire Duval hat that Travis has on, and but instead, if you're listening on the podcasts, that's okay too. We appreciate every bit and form of that. Like and subscribe either place, leave comments, do all that thing there, and get engaged. It's great. You could have all the fun of getting engaged without getting married here when you participate with the Duval. Anyways, so Travis, coaching stuff. Let's bring us in there, man. Be the insider. Tell us about some of the stuff that you talked about here in the Twitters or on BigCatCountry.com.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're keeping it locked into the Big Cat Country 2026 coaching staff tracker, you already know what I'm about to talk about. But if you haven't, get a hold of your life. And I understand it. We get busy. The world is on fire. I understand. But you got Grant Udisky. He's already, he's currently a finalist for the Cleveland Browns job. He has his second interview pending for this Friday, the 23rd. So obviously you want to keep a lookout for that. The Buffalo Bills also requested to interview him. They haven't set the date just yet, but it's coming sometime soon. Maybe even by the time some of you listen to this podcast, if you're not listening live, they may have already had it. But that interview date is to be determined. Additionally, Anthony Campanile, he's been really busy at this point with his interviews.
Officially, the Dolphins' job is closed up, but that stopped nothing for his camp. I know that much.
They did nothing but a speed bump, man. Jeff Hapley ended up being hired for the Miami Dolphins, but that don't matter. Baltimore Ravens, another team who was pretty keen to hiring guys with very little experience. Also completed their first interview with Campanile on this past Monday. So we'll see if he gets to slide through to being a finalist for that role. In addition, Campanile is also a finalist with his for the Arizona Cardinals job, and that interview takes place tomorrow on Thursday, the 22nd. So from that perspective, both coordinators for the Jaguars are pretty dang busy right now, obviously. But then you also have the other one that no one's really talking about. We know the Jaguars already reportedly moved on from defensive back coach, secondary coach Ron Miles, and that one was reported by multiple sources, and we covered it over at BigCatCountry.com. But then also, as we updated on the coaching tracker tonight, the Jaguars have recently removed defensive back coach Chris Richard from the online roster. No official records, no official reports, no rumored reports have even come out other than saying that Stanford was interested in him being the defensive coordinator for their team as their primary target. But there's nothing out there that says, hey, officially this has happened. He's just no longer on the coaching roster, which indicates that the Jaguars most likely will have a new secondary coach and a new defensive back coach. That's the interesting losses or rumored losses to come as far as the team is concerned. Now, as far as the additions, we got Matt, who goes by Matthew, Araujo, Araujo. He's expected to be hired by the Jaguars per CBS Sports, though they haven't said specifically what his role is going to be. Most people kind of assume it's going to be that defensive back coach or that secondary coach role, but he was interviewed for the New York Jets defensive coordinator role this offseason, like 4 days ago. So that could be a person that you have on the side waiting to see what happens with Campanile, because he could easily just slide over and be the defensive coordinator, or he could be a guy who can be your secondary coach or defensive back coach and likely slide over to being your defensive coordinator next year. You have a defensive coordinator in waiting, knowing that Campanile is so hot on the streets right now. Like, it's a smart play either way, and that's why I think they didn't decide to announce what role he's being hired for specifically.
because they're still working it out. Robertson Lamington acts in the comments there. You think next season, the past season, Liam Cohen had position coaches work close to both coordinators so they could promote within. Yeah, I one would hope that not only Liam Cohen, but any NFL franchise does that. Obviously, we're talking about your Jacksonville Jaguars here. So obviously the target, but yeah, I mean, one would hope that that's what's happening in there. I don't think that's any shock in that particular space. So yeah, if that will do all of the above for the coaching updates, which by the way, I know I appreciate how you slid in the little it's Instagram official concept of Chris Richard being pulled from the Jaguars and roster there. But that does mean something in this day and age. I'm not
Well, no, it means something because, again, this is rumor season where a lot of the teams aren't going to announce anything until they've announced the replacement officially or until they've done all their background stuff officially. But everybody has family, everybody has friends. The rumors are going to get out there. So unfortunately, Big Cat Country, we are going to also tell you what the rumors are and then tell you what the official transactions have been and read the tea leaves to Robert Lamson's point and just kind of figure out where it's going to truly land. And there are a lot of tea leaves out there. And there are some wild ones too. So that's where things kind of get fun and interesting either way. But yeah.
Switching over to the Roberts and PJ comments version. Yeah. No, you guys are out the gate pretty good here there too. We have a number of people in the comments too. Ray has weighed in. PJ Brown found time between counting his dollars to weigh in as well in his hopes for a great offseason. And Ray
appreciate you, PJ.
Reyes wants the next season already, but I guess the response is don't we all. So Travis, it's about time to start. Well, go ahead.
No. It's funny because he said he's ready for next season. And I'm sitting here like, man, I'm not even happy about the Super Bowl now. When past seasons, when the Jacksonville Jaguars went, like when I wasn't in the media, in past season when the Jacksonville Jaguars were bad, you know what I waited for? I waited for the day after the Super Bowl, and then I would bet $100 on the Jaguars to win the next Super Bowl with like impossible 5,000 to 1 odds or whatever else. In the whole, yeah, lottery ticket. I used to love that. Now I'm like, man, I bet the Jaguars are gonna have great odds next year. Like it's gonna be like 3-1. Like you're never gonna make your money up, man.
It's like every now and again when like a state lottery will get up to that. Oh, it's close to $1 billion, and somebody hits it, and then it's like trying to play the lottery after that big pot already got won. Like,
yeah,
I see where you go. That's funny.
I feel bad for the Duval degenerates, man. That stings.
So a bad team and a good lottery ticket, or a good team and a small pot. I got nothing. I don't know.
Good team in a small pot. I ain't heard that one ever. That's
I just made it up. You like that? So, anyways, without further ado, let the lightsaber duel begin. On the stage here, we have our tier. By the way, shouts to Tier Maker. With our grades and our different positions. Special teams we're all lumping into one. But Travis, where are we starting right now?
Well, I mean, that's an easier one just to start at special teams, because I think we probably going to land on the same board. And we're not going to have to argue very much. I should hope at least.
Right.
So special teams, obviously kicker, punter, long snapper included, coverage units all across the board. How are you feeling about where they landed in the 2025 season?
See, here's the thing. I know everybody's going to come out here and talk about the great kicks by both guys, let's be honest, and the long snap work. I wavered at times on Cam Little. Let me be clear. Okay. And I'm not going to be this guy that said, oh, he missed crucial kicks. He did it from beyond 50 yards most of the time, but he did miss a few easy ones in the fourth quarter. But the thing that makes me forget those particular transgressions, Travis, is special teams isn't just the dudes booting the football or snapping it for that matter. Ray Lane looking absolutely insane and making fantastic plays. The returns by Parker Washington. What my guy, LaQuint Allen did at times was a fascinating thing. Maybe their punt coverage team wasn't always the best. I will grant you that. But it's hard for me to put anything below an A-. I am going to go A for the special teams. Travis, who you got?
I don't think this is even arguable for me. I mean, when you have a kicker who was arguably or should have been an all-pro, I mean, it's kind of hard to argue when he misses the one that matters most. But I do get the argument. It was a legitimate argument, nevertheless. And then you have a punter who's borderline Pro Bowl Pro Bowler at least, and in past years, absolutely a Pro Bowler. Ray Lane, to your point, LaQuint Allen, I mean, just doing his Ralph from The Simpsons, diving through the window multiple times throughout the season. Right, bro. Like across the board, this is obviously an A in all the high, I don't know what to call it, the high variance positions, the one that's most important. Yes, the coverage units could have been better. I actually do think that they did have a lot of gas to the point where they started kicking the ball into the back of the end zone because they were scared of people returning it deep. But at the end of the day, A- probably feels like the floor for this unit, and that's a great thing for the Jacksonville Jaguars and Heath Farwell's unit. So I'm going A for the special teams. Along with you, that's what we landing, man.
Did we just agree right out of the gate? That's kind of scary. I don't know that I was prepared for that. I feel like I should apologize to the Duval Divers. Zero drama in this scenario.
And we are talking specifically about the roster. To be clear, when I say special, we're talking about the roster, not the coaching, because the special team coaches, and we can get right into that just to knock this out real quickly if you want. Like, I mean, Heath Farwell, I think, did an amazing job just when you're talking development and you're talking like all the guys who just played so well. Like, I think he, along with the individual guys who had the skill set to play well on these special teams, did well across the board. So I think just like I gave that unit an A, I'm probably going, I got to give Farwell himself and how he used those guys and how he was willing to switch out those guys when it deemed necessary. Like at one point they had Devin Lloyd playing on special teams on kickoff. I mean, he got one of the fumbles actually. He recovered one of the LaQuint Allen fumbles. So at that point, you're not just pushing for the role players and the guys who were drafted late to kind of play on special teams. You also pushing your starters to play well there, and they're not loafing. Like I think he gets an A for that also, from my perspective.
Yeah, and for me, coaching is about getting the most out of a player and raising expectation. But how much are you going to raise expectation when you have some humpy bumpy kicking 70 yards in a preseason game? And I appreciate that argument. And moreover, what do you have to do to coach Parker Washington to be an awesome returner? This is nothing new. But I think we're back to Ray Lane and LaQuint Allen being absolute awesomeness out of the gate as younger players. For my money at times, I feel like it was the players that underperformed rather than the strategy, right? So since the players got an A- at times where they struggled, I'm going to give a proper mid-A to the special teams coach.
I like agreement. I mean, I know that definitely would not be the whole podcast, but this
feels weird, Travis. I have to be honest. And maybe part of it is because I'm in your house here. We're talking defense. It's a whole thing. Preston cites headhunters there on the returnings piece. No question there. He's asking Ransaw, I hope he can play safety. I have a feeling he might be special teams lane type player. I mean, that if that's the floor, that could be worse. A little bit high for a guy that would be special teams only. Well, he's the second round pick.
Third round pick.
Okay, he was the second pick in the third round.
Yeah, the second pick, they traded the second round pick for in the Travis Hunter trade. So you ain't drafting a third round, you ain't using a third round pick for a special teamer. Like I do understand that he's going to need some development, but by the end of next year, he should be your starting safety. Hopefully, if you pick the right guy, that's from my perspective. Unless he has some setbacks from his injury, which I don't.
Or you bring someone in who does better. Throw that out there, just because GM be GM. But who we got next on the list there, champion? What's going on?
So let's have the fun conversation. Let's start with defensive line, because defensive line is not just the edges, but it's the edges and the defensive tackle. So let's get into it, because we know how folks are all over the place on this D line.
Well, and here's the thing. I know that people are going to come out of the gate and knock the lack of sacks by the edge. But also the fact that this was a leading team in turnovers, in particular, a franchise record in interceptions. That starts with pressure. And listen, Travis, I know throughout the season that I've made the joke constantly about pressures, man. I get it. But without pressures, man, how many of those interceptions do you truly get, right? Before you can pencil whip an offense, one must first whip with the pencil, and part of that whip is the pressure. And
Sensei,
you like what I did there? Moreover, say what you will about the defensive tackle pass rush. I know it was frustrating at times, but to be the top run stopping defense in the league, It starts in that middle piece. D tackles help. Linebackers were an element. The linebacker conversation is going to be real tough. I know coming up because there were some things they did great and didn't, but I don't go too much in that. Hand me a B for the defensive line core. Yeah.
That's funny. So it's hard to give them anything. Like you couldn't be realistic. You couldn't be deemed serious if you gave them something like a D. Let's be clear about
That's
that.
too far.
Like
I don't think you'd be realistic giving them an A. I think that's a good way too.
Facts. I think that's absolutely like there's no way with that production on the sacks department, that production in the pressures department, that you'd be able to say this Jacksonville Jaguars defensive line even was a B plus from my perspective. And I know that they were the number one run stopping team in the NFL. And I know that they were dogs in a lot of ways at shedding blocks and not allowing themselves to be pushed back consistently. But hey man, pass rushing is what gets you paid. Pass rushing is what gets you notoriety. It's a passing league, and you got to be able to get the quarterback down. You got to make these guys feel uncomfortable, and you got to be able to sometimes do it in less than 2.5 seconds pretty quickly. And if you can't, it's going to be hard to view you as a B plus. Even a B sounds high for me, and I'm being honest about that. Like if it's not a B minus or a C plus range, I don't feel comfortable with it, honestly. Like I'm really landing on, I'm really landing at C plus, and I know I'm a harsh grader. But that's how important I give a curve to the passing department. And in the passing department right now, I think most Jacksonville Jaguars fans are pretty much in lockstep. And I would even agree. I would even argue that I guarantee the coaching department and the leadership department are in lockstep saying we need another dang defensive tackle, maybe even two in the pass rushing area, because it's that dire as far as our ability to stop these basic average NFL veteran quarterbacks to get the ball. They get the ball out early.
Well, and I think a lot of that, yeah, C plus. So maybe I can lift you up a little bit by insinuating, because if you landed B minus, I would, we would know where to put them on the tier and everything would be done. Right. But now we have two separate lines, and we're only off by 2 ticks, right? Because I said middle B. Here's the thing, the defensive ends are.
So we can land in the middle is what you're trying to say at B minus, and that would be in landing in the middle. My C plus and your middle B.
I will get that. If you're saying I pull your average up to B minus, I can live with that. We put them in that B tier. This is done because again, the defensive ends were so important to the outside run, and any quarterback that held the ball was in trouble, and also throughout the season, as the season got better. I feel like the defensive line did a better job containing mobile quarterbacks as they got used to the system that Campanile had that left the linebackers exposed to the mobile quarterback. Because we talked about this.
They did a lot of cage rushing throughout the season against a lot of the more mobile quarterbats. So that made their pressure numbers.
Exactly.
And it affects the sack numbers. It affected the pressure numbers. And then on the few games that they didn't have, big fourth quarter leads, that meant the other team was balanced and they weren't in a drop back passing situation like the Bills game, where they couldn't really get pressure because they're playing from behind and the other quarterback's comfortable. Okay, I'm with you on the pure numbers. But damn, they got to infect the quarterback, man. That's killing me. So the defensive line is as bad as the defensive line was. The edges were much better, and even the rotational developmental edges in Strigo and BJ Green and Dennis Gardeck, those guys developmental that will move me up. I won't even argue with you. Yeah, I won't even argue with you. I'll give you the B minus. Though in my head it's still a C plus, but I got you. I'm with you.
Now, if you want an A, here's where I'll agree with you. If you want an A. Next season, you better fix that damn roster and get to the quarterback.
That's it. Sorry. So D line B. Even in my head, it's a B minus, but we'll go with the B.
We'll say it out there for everybody to hear on the podcast and witness on the Duval Dive YouTube channel that Travis was reluctantly pulled up to a B minus from a C plus. The record is.
Wait. What are these guys saying? I want to make sure before we move on too deep.
So and let me jump up here too. Somebody dropped Mason Smith in here as a diss. I knew they would, and they're not wrong. Let's see. DTs went downhill after Armstead got hurt.
They did. They fell off a cliff after the sack numbers, the pressure numbers, all of it fell off the cliff, and that's weird because they also still played some of their best opportunities to get sacks, like the worst teams and some blowouts even.
Robert has B+. I think that's too much. Reyes agrees with you, C+ overall.
Here we go, Reyes.
I trust the scouting department. I think we're going to find those diamonds in the rough that can contribute immediately. I do too, but as we talk more with the draft approaching, it'll be interesting to see how they do it without draft picks. We'll see what happens there. But Robert says C is in the middle, elite in runs and no sacks. But again, I think that take just ignores the fact that they forced interceptions. Go ahead, Travis.
But you just said something important, because the reason we're doing this grading now, because a lot of people just skipped over this stage of grading where the roster is. We graded the roster beforehand. We're grading it afterwards as we go into the draft and as we go into free agency, so we can know how you feel about the roster, so you can probably easily identify where they should be adding guys. But first, we need to know where we are. This is kind of figuring that out.
Timmy Devil doing crazy things. Need 3 defensive tackles, in my opinion. I'll put it this way. Depending on skill level, I wouldn't hate it. It would depend on what you had to give up for it. Preston, get some hard to find defensive tackle pass rush. The rest of the run D will keep us as a seriously good run defense. Sacks, end drives at a higher rate, putting offense in bad passing positions to get a pick. See that, and that's the thing though, and it's that fine line. I'm not going to tell here and say never get sacks, but if you get sacks, you're not getting interceptions. It's a fascinating thing. But if you get a sack in an early down, a higher chance for an interception when they're trying to force it on third is a thing to talk about. There's a whole lot to unpack there. And then I agree with Reyes here. Mason Smith not taking a step hurt them. And a good point by Robert. Not enough people talk about this in general. Keeping linebackers clean matters across that defensive front. I think that's a great point.
No, that's fair. That's a good. Hey man, y'all. Yeah, I'm generally in lockstep with you guys, and that's weird to say because I love to argue. I like to fight. You
know what I would argue? I would argue that we have among the smartest comment base in Duval media. That's the part where we're working against us. We have too many damn ball knowers in these comments. No, don't you dare hit the exaggeration alert. That's a fact here at the Duval Dive. What's the next position, Travis? Let's do this.
All right, man. So we get into that linebacker conversation. You think it's going to be a difficult conversation. I think it's going to be actually moderately easy, but maybe that's me. But I would like to go first just so you don't bias me in what I'm
I want you to drag me out of those because I'm the guy that was too hard on the linebackers when we graded them with friend of the show, Jamal St. Cyr. Please start it off for us, sir.
No, I mean, the fact of the matter is we didn't know what we had in Devin Lloyd. Like, folks, heading into the season, that was the huge question. And he killed it in very many ways. Like, he was physical at the point of attack. He wasn't running from contact as far as that's concerned. Like, you can see that on the film consistently all throughout the season. You weren't seeing the loafing, on those occasional opportunities that we would see in our film reviews in the 2024 season. None of that. You got Foye Oluokun, who was continued being his normal physical self, averaging whatever it was, like 8 tackles, 9 tackles a game.
Another 100+ season. I mean, right?
Yeah, another 100+ tackle season.
I didn't look it up. I just knew it.
You got to know it. If you say that, you're going to be right nearly every year unless he has serious injury. That's what it is. And then depending on how you want to view Dennis Garnett, because I know he's technically a stat linebacker that rushes, whatever you want to consider that, whether that's edge or whether that's linebacker, I kind of just put him in a mixture of half and half, whatever. The linebackers played well. They weren't the defense's deficiency. That's kind of where I'm leaving that. Like, even in the spot duty when Ventrell Miller played, whether that on special teams and also in reserve for Devin Lloyd being hurt, he played well. And he wasn't like this guy circled on the whiteboard every week, if that makes sense.
It does.
I can't see another way that wouldn't be considered an A. You got one guy who's like prototypically a tackle merchant, and not in a bad way. I mean, like, just truly a machine at tackling guys in Foye Oluokun. And you have another guy who's literally shutting down the middle of the field from opposing offenses in the passing game until he gets hurt. And then when he gets back, he does it again. And they continue leading, like, second in the NFL in interceptions in Devin Lloyd. There ain't another grade but an A. I might even say A+. I don't know. And I don't think I'm grading on a curve in saying that, but I want your opinion.
I'm not prepared for A+. Though I man, listen, I'm not saying they should get a low grade, right? I think the floor is a C, and that's really being a hater if you want to blame some things on there that may not necessarily. Oh, no, I'm not going there. Take it easy. Hold the hell up. I said the floor is a C. I'm not putting it there.
Okay.
No, put the damn thing down. I'm at B plus A minus just because I feel like the D tackles did a lot to help. I think the point was made very nicely here. Robbie mentions that the D line is a C, need dominant edge rush either side. That's all a great point.
Yeah.
But and I'm trying to find the comment now. Crap, I lost the comment. But the long of the short is, while there were elements, while they took a step back when Eric Armstead's missing, that's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like trying to balance and stop the mobile quarterback and contain that underneath was a challenge early in the year. And they overcame it. They got better. I mean, heck, the pencil whip interception, I have no better way to describe it, of Patrick LaVon Mahomes II itself is proof that this group evolved. But, and I'm not going to grade him entirely on one game, but I was it the corners of the linebackers you felt worse about playing Buffalo? I think that's a key question too. But see,
Buffalo.
Yeah, see, there were some moments where the linebackers made you go, but there were too many.
But the line in the run game, they were just ridiculous. They were hair on fire the entire game, and I do mean both of them, not just Foye. Like, but they were on it against Buffalo. And I didn't think that. No, I felt way worse about the defensive backfield than I did about the linebackers against Buffalo. And
I thought you'd say that too, considering that the Buffalo tight end struggled a lot more than you would expect, right? Yeah. If you want to pull me from B plus to A minus, I'll allow it. But yeah,
I'm thinking A minus, bro. I'm thinking that if you're okay with it. And again, I don't want this whole thing to land on where everybody's an A, because I know that's not going to be what it is. But that's
how
where I am right now.
Were these parts of the team this year to the success of the Jacksonville Jaguars? Parker Washington getting return touchdowns decided games. Turnovers decided games. Of course, these cats should get A's. They were a big part of the Jacksonville Jaguars' success back when the offense was still struggling. How the hell do they not get A's, Travis Holmes? How?
That's it. I mean, they were top of the league in interceptions, near the top of the league in, near about it. They were the top of the league in run stopping. It's very difficult not to consider what they did up front. The combination of what they did up front and the linebackers, to that original point, keeping the linebackers clean. I get it. You're right there too. So they can scrape to the ball, make plays, and just be athletes in space. I got you. But no, you can't consider that anything but an A when you just look at it across the board. One guy dominant in one area, other guy dominant in the other area, and they're number one in the league in run. There are no negatives. I mean, someone in this comment say, there you go, Reyes. Lloyd killed it so much the Jags won't be able to afford him. I think there's factual.
At least one other one that says that. Yeah, that's going to be a real damn problem where we have the conversation of Etienne versus Lloyd, and the unfair advantage is Etienne because his quarterback in college is playing with him.
I mean, that might be the tiebreaker, sure, and hopefully, and this sucks to say, but it's my God honest opinion. Hopefully, the coaching staff does not consider that at all. Hopefully, I don't care about keeping the quarterback happy. I'm focused on keeping the quarterback winning. I don't enough pure peak athletes, the best athletes in the history of the game, have shown me very convincingly that they don't know how to draft the right players. Like, very often when someone says, that's my guy, I gotta have this guy, does it go like right? Like, it rarely goes right. It often goes bad. When, I mean, you heard the Buffalo Bills in their presser today with the owner. Jesus, that was a train wreck. But folks forget that Josh Allen said he wanted Keon Coleman. That was his guy that he had. He texted him, what was it, days before the draft, telling him that that was their guy. And I'm like, oh, no. So it wasn't just the coach, it was the player also. So I don't care about, your job is to find the best players. The player's job is to win games. As long as you're good at your job, he will win games. I don't care about it being Travis Etienne being Trevor Lawrence's guy. Find another guy. Damn, that's. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm just being honest about this. Like, if he's a great ball knower, your general manager, you'll be all right.
Hey, well, right. when placed with that situation, what do you think Jimmy Stones is going to say? I'll help you. No. it's that
You
damn
never know.
simple.
You never know though. Like some people, if a quarter, I mean, some people might capitulate or might bend to the will of the quarterback, and that's when you get into those rough situations where someone has to pay for the drafting of this player, and you may have a bad owner in public saying, "Hey, man, this was their guy. This is like the Buffalo Bills."
Bro,
So,
like I did not know he was the owner of a bus company because he threw them right out of the streets. Holy shit. Yeah,
yeah,
I almost
man.
cursed. That was nuts.
Yeah.
Uh,
So we landed on the A- for the linebacker group, and we are at my area of the house, defensive backs, bro.
I
How do you feel?
you're gonna have, and it makes sense. I run the show, but so you can anchor this. But for me, and I already know up front, I'm gonna grade higher than you because to your point, I think you grade a bit more meticulous. Harsh is a harsh word. Even I think you're a bit more meticulous in your approach, especially when it's in your house. You're not going to be insulted by people underplaying in your craft. I don't diss that.
Yeah.
I think a handicap does need to be given to injury here. It played a significant role, to say the least, right? Two of the top guys were off the roster late in the season. That's a whole factor. That being said, if we're evaluating everything, including the interceptions, which were mostly retrieved by linebackers, let's be bleeping honest, right? If we're evaluating, I said mostly, not entirely.
Seven that didn't come from the DBs. 15 from the DBs.
Okay. So that is the majority on there, and that's fine. And Jordan Lewis, before he got hurt, was balling the hell out. But man, this is really hard because it's fun. This is the most fun I've had breaking down defensive back play covering the Jags with you, Travis. No bones about it. However, in a world where Greg Newsome and Tyson Campbell both exist, holy God, you cannot give these cats an A this year. You just can't do it. Okay? Straight up burn marks, right? Okay? I get it.
This group is so fun to grade.
It really is. I can't.
It's so bad and so good at the same time.
This is why it's the hardest group to grade. And I see some cats doing what I think I might do already to grade it. I'm not gonna go all the way down to C- like Lamison is.
C- is strong. I almost cursed. C- is strong.
For some, see, that's the thing. And I knew this was gonna happen. I'm handicapping injuries more than you are. In a world where Monteric Brown, a physical corner, a run-stopping corner, both things used to title this guy, he might have one of the top 5, if not the best interception on the roster this year. That kind of duality is absolutely nuts for any core. C- is out of the question for me. I think that's too low. C+, B-, when I really flesh things out is where I land. I'll put it this way. A corner has a tougher job to do something as far as a turnover goes when the ball's coming out quicker.
Okay.
The games where this group proved they're a dinner secondary, right? When the meal was served later by the quarterback, they ate. They were not a breakfast secondary, meaning the morning, air quotes, of the route, they weren't necessarily on top of them. I don't know if this is a scheme problem. I don't know if this is a coverage problem. You answer that question, damn it. But because the formula was so easily solved by saying, don't hold on to the ball, the corners are a big part of that. This is why I can't roast the hell out of them like I think you're about to. Put me at, I'm going to say B- because I have to be consistent in what I said and give them a handicap for all the injuries they got, including 2 of their best damn guys on the roster. That matters.
I'm grading everything that they did. I'm grading everything that they did. I'm grading how it ended. I'm grading the injuries are part of it, but that's just a conversation on drafting the right guys and development and all of that. Like I'm grading Tyson Campbell, who was also on the roster for a good portion of the first part of it. Like, while that's like, this is the roster. I'm grading where the roster is, but I'm also grading what the roster did. And to that earlier point, the defensive backfield did come away with 15 of those interceptions. And that is positive. That is a great thing. The development from Monteric Brown is a great thing. Even the few snaps that you did see from Travis Hunter was a great thing. But at the end of the day, if I'm grading where we are right now, that's pulling this grade down a lot. because we knew what this roster was right now heading into the postseason. And Jaguar fans knew, hey, man, if you get into a situation where you got to play man coverage, you can't. You just aren't going to be able to. And I think that's why the Jacksonville Jaguars are not playing right now today or not practicing today is because they could not put these guys into a press man situation because let's say Monteric Brown, for instance, is not going to be able to run with these Buffalo Bills wide receivers, despite the fact that these guys aren't really like explosive in that way, but they're good enough to beat you. And that's problematic. The same way with even Jarian for that matter. Like Jarian's great, but you don't want to put him in press man in every snap, especially when the game on the line, fourth quarter, something along those lines. Like they are deficient in the ways that matter when the game's in crunch time. And I can't see a scenario where a B- is appropriate. Hell, I said a C+. I see there's an argument for a D+. I'm not making it, but there absolutely is one there. I'm being real with you, bro. Like the linebackers destroyed. The safeties at one point in the season were horrendous, and then they got great. And I'm going to right. So I'm going to talk about the fact that it was both. You got Antonio Johnson, who ended the season incredible. Shout out to him. That's great. But you got early in the season when you got Dewey Wingard out there getting beat by like 3 weeks in a row. And that was a problem also. So I'm grading the whole season. Then, all right, cool. I'm going to land at, unfortunately, I got to give a C.
Snap. You know what? And there's something I got to amend one of my trains of thought like an idiot. And then this is my fault for not paying enough attention. Why? You're lumping the safeties in. They're not a separate group. Suddenly, I know why you're looking at me so side-eyed for a B. I'm looking at me side-eyed for a B. If you're including the safeties,
DBs is DBs, yeah, man.
Yeah. You ain't wrong. I read CB when I read it. That's my problem, right? He's not wearing his glasses.
Yeah, if we separated this thing out, that'd be a lot.
I wonder why everybody was talking about Dewey so much and like Dewey catching heat in the comments. Like I feel bad showing it, but never mind. I'm up to 5 Dewey hater comments here. It's crazy.
So then where are you landing if you acknowledge that safeties are also part of this conversation? Like,
so I said B-, then they're straight up C. I can't take it all the way to a D. But they're a C then if we're adding
right, because the developmental guys are going to bring you up, obviously. And I don't think there's a role where you can realistically say that there is a D, but you can also acknowledge that a guy like Greg Newsome may not necessarily be on this roster, and that could be a good thing. But you can also acknowledge that a guy like Dewey may not be on this roster, and that could legitimately be a good thing. And hopefully adding a guy like a Caleb Ransall back into the fold who hopefully plays well, or even adding another rookie can hopefully like raise this group, because you still definitely need another corner with more speed. And I think that's the problem. So I'm landing on C. It sounds like you're landing on C.
I am.
We can go with that. And it stinks because I would hate to. I don't know if is there. And maybe I should say this: is there any group on this team? Well, maybe not the team, but on the defense that deserves a D. Like there's a good argument that you can say is a D. Like I'm wondering if I have to separate them out.
If the safeties by themselves disappointed you enough, you can make an argument, is what I'll say.
Oh, no, you can make an argument for the corners.
Well, no, it's because you see, here's the reason, and I'm using your own logic against you. You're taking a picture of where the team is now. Thing is, Jordan Lewis and Travis Hunter are on that roster, and you're not accounting for them in any of your evaluation. So.
Hey, man, Jordan Lewis fell off towards the end of the season before he got injured. But basically from that Rams game, there was some questions. Like it was a little up and down for a few weeks, and then he got hurt, obviously. And then Travis Hunter was great, and he showed great promise. But we can't objectively say Travis Hunter was incredible at cornerback. He was incredible. Like he ran the routes for receivers, and there was all some great highlights and everything else. But then he gave up a lot of underneath catches where he just wasn't playing tight enough coverage.
He was pulled against certain personnel packages too that were more physical. We acknowledge
exactly.
That.
I'm not going to gaslight people and pretend that didn't happen just because they love Travis Hunter. I'm still going to keep it a buck and say that. Like he still gave up some underneath catches that probably shouldn't have been given up with his athletic profile. He was faster and stronger and better than a lot of these receivers that he's facing. Can't do that, obviously. And that comes with time. That comes with maturation. I get it. But overall, I will say, yes, those are positive things. Jordan Lewis, Travis Hunter, that's going to make this team better. But there's still questions on what that's truly going to be when we're looking back after 2026 season. So I'm still going with the C overall. But I think, yes, looking at this team without those guys, yeah, you're probably looking at a D. But with them, there's no argument. You're right.
Okay, I can get behind that. What's next on the docket there, champion?
Oh, coach of the year candidate, obviously Anthony Campanile, because everybody want him. Yeah. So let's talk about the DC. Where are you landing on this bad mama jamma?
And you know, I think a lot of the for lack of a better word, I think a lot of the smoke, not or fog for me in evaluating Campanile is there's so much to evaluate in his approach. I feel like I have to watch film as often as you do, which I don't, to really grasp all of it. So I think I'm a step or two behind. So what I can do is take the facts of the case. Your expectations were low thanks to the hockey coach. Shouts Ryan Nielsen, right? You took a team that was playing an all-pro defensive tackle at defensive end 61% of the time, and it was among the lowest in turnovers, specifically fumble recoveries, in the league. Your season total matched stuff people could get in one game playing against CJ Stroud this season. Too soon? Anyway, so I know you Duval like that shot. That being said, and now suddenly we're a team. We're seeing a team that is not only turning things around, setting high numbers for turnovers, but to the opinion of many and to the detriment of the offense, in the opinion of some, carrying teams to certain wins, the cause for teams getting certain wins, putting your guy who I had left for dead, Devin Lloyd, I was out on. Boy, do I look like a big dummy now, right? But I was out on Devin Lloyd. And you go from me being out on Devin Lloyd to me absolutely falling in love with the interception pick 6 on Monday Night Football of Patrick LaVon Mahomes II. Holy guacamole. I know there were some risks in there. He has a style where he's opportunistic, and there were some things that he gives up that you pointed out. I got A- for Anthony Campanile this season.
Yeah, man. It's hard for me not to give, like, I can't go, I'm not going to say A+ because I feel like that's just being a homer. And I don't believe in that, but I do believe there's a realistic argument to say this dude did an incredible job, an amazing job, like an A-level job, simply because he did so much in changing up the pre-snap to the pre-snap look versus the post versus what teams see post-snap. He did so many interesting things just with his secondary, which of course I love, because he just inverted cover 2, and then he'd show a one high situation, and all of a sudden everybody named Mama bailing while you got the safety rushing from 8 yards deep, and I'm just like, yo, that's crazy. Who does that and get a pick off of it, for that matter? That's an Antonio Johnson play against the Jets. And I'm just like, all right, cool. This dude's out of his mind, and I love it. It's sort of like an offensive coordinator, mad scientist. He's Ben Johnson of the defense, and I do truly say that with all the respect intended. It's hard to turn the defense that was in the bottom 5 in the NFL in run stopping one year into the top run stopping defense in the NFL the next season. Brother, there is no argument to say this dude is anything less than a solid A. And the only reason I'm not saying A+ is because I still think he did have those personnel limitations. I just would have preferred them to end the season getting bombed up or making the offense complete a long catch. I'm talking about that Buffalo Bills game, frankly. That's the only thing that held me back from this being an A+, just because I thought they should have just played a little more press coverage. And if Josh Allen beats you deep, then he beats you deep. But you got to allow your defensive line a little bit of extra time to trying to get him on the ground and make him be Superman. And unfortunately, they played a lot more off coverage, and he completed nearly every damn throw. That sucks, man. It's a second way to go out. Yeah. So A for Campanile. A for Campanile. Just C. A for Anthony. There you go.
Yeah. By the way, here's the thing: the way I know Campanile had a good performance this season Even our favorite frenemy in the comments gives him dab. Timmy Devil says
Jesus.
it has to be an A-. There you
Timmy
go.
Devil with an A-. That means I need to go up to A+. That means I'm drinking too low. Lord.
Put Camp in the A tier. That's right. There you go.
There you go.
Woo, goodness gracious. We're running out of space in the A tier. Look out. Here we go. So last but not least, in this episode, we're going to finally evaluate Jimmy Stones. And here's the thing. I think this is going to be incomplete just by its nature, right? I'm not grading for future potential because, let's be honest, there's an argument to be made that this offseason is going to be miles more difficult than last offseason. Why do I say that? Oh, you even agree? Great. Why do I say that? Is because you have assets, because you are drafting for a bad team. Granted, to Balky's credit, maybe he had a few extra picks, Jimmy Stones, at his disposal based on past deals. That's fine. He took those picks, said F them picks, and yet still got one of the better drafts I've ever seen a team have. The whole acquisition of Travis Hunter. Say what you will about that. All I know is there's a guy who's among the best at two positions when healthy. If you don't like the price, that's on you. Ransall didn't pan because of injury. Can't really hold that against him. Jalen McLeod didn't pay. No, we mean exaggeration alert. Ransall didn't play. We can't evaluate him. Period. That's not an exaggeration.
I got you. It feels like it was early. That's all. I'm just throwing shade. That's all. Go ahead.
Why would you stop now? Anyway, no. Jalen McLeod, another injury thing, and the pick of his I didn't like. Can't hold that against him. Everybody else at some point did something impressive. His 7th round pick be knocking people to bleep out. His 6th round pick in Jonah Maheim may not have been perfect, but stepped in for Robert Hainsey and did a pretty good job. Wyatt Milam, not looking bad at all, in my opinion, for where he's at right now. This is what makes evaluating this so hard, right? And let's not even forget all the free agency ish he did throughout the year to upgrade this team. Jacoby Myers is a thing now. Holy guacamole. Yeah. So for me, I don't see a world where it's below A. I see some other grades coming in the comments that may not agree with mine. But for right now, based on this year's activity, I don't see how you pick anything lower than an A. I don't get it.
All right.
Yeah, Tim Patrick as well. I forgot to even mention him, Robert.
All right, so we will acknowledge the trades, like the Tim Patrick trade, and knowing that you came into the season with an incomplete roster, knowing that it was likely going to be a 2-year build. I will meet you there because I said that early on, and I don't want to have revisionist history just because the roster's not what I think it should be 2 years down the line when we're not 2 years down the line. Like, I'll be honest.
It's full Kobe Bryant mode. Job's not finished.
I will meet you there. But I will also say, like, I'm grading the job that he did, not necessarily where the roster is right now.
Okay.
So the job that he did in reacting to what he saw, I will give him an A for immediacy, I guess we'll say. An A for his urgency in seeing what we have and trading Tyson Campbell within 6 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it was, early in the season. Yeah, he quickly saw what we have and quickly saw how he was being picked on and quickly got him out the paint. Like, all right, cool. I'll give you credit for that. That's an A+ move. I'm not saying he's an A, but that's an A move. All right, cool. You do the Tim Patrick trade. That's a buy low opportunity. I think it worked out reasonably well for the Jaguars. You do the Jacoby Myers trade. I think that worked out dang well for the Jaguars.
I mean, how was that any different, in my opinion, than Tyson Campbell? These humpy pumpies can't catch the beep ball. Yo, Jacoby, you busy?
Yeah. I mean, that's basically it. Hey, man, I'm doing what I got to do to win games, and I'm doing it at a very low cost. Like, I'm okay with that. You get into the draft pick conversation, and that was where I originally disagreed with you, just because I'm like, the Travis Hunter thing is like, it was always that whole draft class is always going to rest on whether or not Travis Hunter is the guy. Like, and that's not to say he's not. It's to say he's shown promise, and we're still going to wait to see what that's going to look like, because it's not if he's the guy in year one. It's if he's the guy on this first contract. I know how this works. But it's hard to argue that they got a lot from this draft class. They didn't. They got some from this draft class, and that's cool, and it's a great thing. But the expectations for Bashaw Tootin, the expectations for LaQuint Allen, the expectations for these guys that's not named Travis Hunter were obviously much lower because of where they were drafted, right? So like they were able to contribute, and that's a great comment. That's a great compliment to James Gladstone, great compliment towards the coaching staff. But overall, those contributions weren't like ridiculous. They weren't like incredible. And I'm not going to like BS it to pretend like that's also the case. I think it was a D draft class if you want to talk about contributions on the field. No. I'm contributions on the field. They weren't playing. Availability is the most important part.
So you're holding injury, something that can't be controlled against the GM. Is this what we're doing?
Hey man, I'm grading the man after 1 year. I ain't trying to pull punches. I'm trying to call balls and strikes.
And it is what it is. Into the 4D chess of the fact that he took a lot of pressure off of Trevor by having a non-quarterback being the spotlight of the franchise in the offseason.
Again, I'm clearly the one that often said I did not think that this was a James Gladstone offseason. I'm the person that asked James directly to his face about the JAR system and about the fact that he's going to actually implement his own system and have his own scouting process and his own nuances and all of that this upcoming season, something that he didn't have last year. So I'm giving him all the passes and why this shouldn't have worked out.
I'm giving him all the passes, but
no. But in grading what it was, I gotta still grade. I can't BS you and say this was better than what I think it was. I think it was a D, and that's what it was. That also means I don't blame him for it, but I'm grading him based on it because that's his job. It is what it is. That's the nuance of the conversation, unfortunately. And then you get into the free agent class, and that's when things gets a little interesting because I'm like, all right, cool. Patrick McCarry was about what you'd expect for a free agent stopgap, like right guard. I think that's actually reasonable. He wasn't great. He wasn't dreadful, but he wasn't.
Again, another guy who underperformed due to injury while we're having the conversation, right? I mean,
sure. Robert Hainsey, good job.
On that alone, you should write an apology letter. Like the shade you were throwing at the center position. I want a Mauler. This guy's not good.
Hey man, I still think they need to do work, but I understand he was a great floor raiser, and if that's what you wanted it to be, then that's what it was, and I think that's fair. Chuma Ndoga, yeah, fine. Adding Jordan Lewis, who ends up being a captain on your defense, and actually even mentoring Jarian Jones, who ends up being showing the ability to be the guy later in the season. That's dope. Eric Murray, I think, also did a really good job raising the floor, even if he did have those 2 coverage busts in the last game. Hey man, I hate coverage busts. It grinds my gears. I'm telling you,
you got past a neck injury. You busted 2 coverages.
Hey man, did that hurt your legs? Because you were out of position. I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, De'Ami Brown was.
I think you're hating. That's just a great response to.
Hey man, De'Ami Brown was crashed and burned, and just I don't even. That was rough. And
but that's the thing. He moved off of it quickly. That matters. Okay, if you're Trent Baalke, you're still trying to cram. I know I'm setting the bar in hell when I make that comparison.
That bar is in hell, boy. That bar is definitely 6 feet under.
So many GMs make that mistake to not move off mistakes quickly.
That's fair. All right. I'll go with you. It's not.
Robert even gives a little credit for Jacoby.
Oh wait, but thank you, Robert. I'm actually with you. I mulled it all over. I'm going C. I think that's actually reasonable, and it sucks.
So okay. So here's the thing. All right, I said A. You said C. That middle tier is looking pretty tempting to put right next to his D-line.
I can't give a GM a B based on his ability to move off of the moves that were previously made by also him. That's rough, right? Like, because he still made the De'Ami Brown move, but then we moved. I mean, the hell, they cheered about the De'Ami Brown move. They clapped and hooted and hollered and everything else in the situation room to get De'Ami Brown just to then move off of him. So, like, it's great to move off.
Jamarcus Russell getting drafted by the Raiders got a hoot and a holler. What are we talking about?
I'm just saying it's great to move off of the guy, but it's also we gotta acknowledge, like, hey, you also got the guy, so that was a part of it. I mean, hell, we got the video. Wait. We got the video evidence. I'm saying
we good. Whoa! Shoot! Oh my gosh! Let's go. So you
That was for De'Ami Brown.
Everybody in the room getting a D. Mute my microphone so you could give everybody in the room a D. Don't think I didn't notice that, champion.
No. The video did that. Actually, I didn't. I was muted too.
Okay.
Oh man.
No. But see, here's the thing: the statement of I'm giving him all this dap for moving off. If you're not going to accept that, then I have to hold you to continue to acknowledge, which your low gradesmanship does, the limited evaluation season that you went out of your way to point out.
It's just hard to call the result a B while also acknowledging like his effort was an A. I think his effort to get off of these moves and just to churn and burn and get to figure out what you have on your roster and to get it right was an A effort, and I will stand on that. I just think the final result obviously wasn't what you wanted to help this team in 2025, but I think he did a good enough job where I pull it up to a C, maybe even a high C. But when you start getting into the B territory, I just feels too rich for me. That feels like Boomer kind of landing.
This dude put together a roster that had a 9-game improvement.
I mean, you could thank Trent Baalke for that.
What's that?
You could thank Trent Baalke for that.
You can thank Trent Baalke for a 9-game improvement? The bleep you talking about? What are we doing here?
That's Doug Peterson versus Liam Cohen, in my opinion, brother. I mean, the majority of your main role players were the guys from that Trent Baalke era, not the guys from this. So
wait, you can't thank Trent Baalke for Liam Cohen. Oh, I see.
Obviously not. Obviously not. It's the coaches, man. But I'm being real about it though. Like I'm talking about the additions to the roster via James Gladstone. Were a lot of glue guys, and that's absolutely important. But it didn't raise the bar for me. It's because again, the main guy it was landing on was Travis Hunter, and that didn't work out. Sucks, but it is what it is.
And we can't create the future. We led with that. Like, and I know people are talking about this. But we don't know with Travis Hunter yet, and that's the truth. To even attempt to throw darts at the board is what makes it a C. Baalke bringing in Gabe Davis and Armstead, knowing they were not 100% and giving out huge contracts. Who's setting the bar in hell now? What the hell are we doing? Overcoming decisions like that should matter too. That's why it's man, listen.
It's the best trait. I will acknowledge, and I will meet you halfway and say the best trait of a general manager is their ability to move off bad decisions and do it quickly after you realize what you have and what you're looking for.
And yet,
from that perspective, I will give him a B-. But just to get off this argument,
it still says C here on the tiers.
Just to get off this argument, I'm saying B-. But just know, in my head, I'm still cussing saying it's a C. But I got you.
But listen. And here's the punchline. Because here's the real part where Gladstone's going to be tested. You can clip this. I'm on record here. This coming off season's the test. Okay. You got the harder schedule upcoming. You got the higher expectations. You have less material in the form of draft picks. If you're all that, if your jars is all that in the bag of chips, it better not break like it's glass in this coming season. That's the test. Can you maintain the growth? Because you got the 80%, can you get that other 20%?
The 80%, can you get the other 20? I mean, I think that's fair. And we'll see where it lands in comparison to what you had, because maybe you do move off of someone like a Travis Etienne, or maybe you do move off of someone like a Devin Lloyd. All right, cool. If you're going to do that, then I do hope it's going to be better than what it was. Otherwise, folks might look at you side-eye like Trent Baalke was toxic, but also he drafted some good players. Like, like there is going to be that give and take.
What did Trent Baalke do in the lower rounds? I don't remember that.
No, Trent Baalke was terrible. Yeah, Trent Baalke was terrible. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying you can see that coming though, and that's the point that I'm at. That I want to make sure I focus on also, because you're depending on the GM to be incredible, in addition to you being dependent upon this coach being incredible. And as we see with the Buffalo Bills, that don't always mean the same thing. You can have an incredible coach like a Sean McDermott, maybe looking good like a really good coach, working with some less than stellar talent, a less than stellar roster, and you don't know where it's coming from. So that's what I'm wondering now. Like, all right, cool. We've seen the 9-game improvement because Liam Coleman seemed to be just that dude at coaching. Now can we see improvement because James Gladstone is a damn good GM? That's the next question.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that entirely. Timmy Devil reminds us something we haven't done a good enough job pointing out. The O-line got way better when we were promised physicality allegedly by Trent Baalke, the receivers got way better. We'll talk about that in the next episode doing grades. 'Cause I think Travis and I both have questions about that distinction. And the running back core got better as well. Again, we'll save that for the offensive grades. And the DB room got better than last year. It at least started there, perhaps, I can grant.
Oh, Robert. Oh, it says Jimmy Stones would have drafted Hutchinson.
So messed up. Poor Trayvon Walker.
Let's go.
Y'all still hating. Some hating humpy bumpies. Best defensive lineman
That
on
was
the
great.
roster. Y'all still hate
That
him.
was great.
Man, so terrible.
We appreciate y'all boys, man.
We do. Absolutely. I think that's a good one to wrap up with. Travis, do you want to tell me where you can be found?
Yeah, man. I can be found on all the socials. Travis D. Holmes. You can find my writing covering the Jaguars, bigcatcountry.com. We're going to do some great things this offseason. Obviously, if you guys have something that you guys want to talk about, like we're going to finish grading the offense on Friday's pod. But yeah, this is off-season time. You know what it is. We're going to have the grab bag out there. Let us know what you want to talk about, whether it's in the YouTube comments, whether it's on the Duval Dive TikTok or the Duval Dive on X, or even Travis Holmes or Kyle, the student of the game. What is it? At STOG?
At the SOTG, that's right.
The SOTG. Yes. There you go. My bad. Or on X. Just let us know whatever it is you want to talk about. And if it's a good enough subject, man, we'll have a whole segment, maybe even a whole pod talking about it, because this is that time of year we can get fun and have some real conversations. Maybe it's to give some life advice. I don't know, man. Talk to us. Let us know
about that. Yeah, we can help you out. Just don't do anything too crazy. Of course,
stay off the news.
Yeah, that's right. I am the student of the game, Kyle Nash at the SOTG. I'm on Twitter, not X, because I have a family. Sorry, Travis. I hit with that right when he took a drink.
There we go.
So I'm exaggerating? I don't take drugs, Travis. How was that exaggerating?
I don't know. Maybe you do. I don't know. I don't know what you do on your off time.
Man, listen, you leave my diabetes medication out of this, okay? Listen. Of course, my work as well on Threads, Instagram, and the student game on Facebook as well. My writings covering the UCF Knights football and basketball. Check that out, blackandgoldbannerite.com, as well as the Night Shift podcast, and my work covering the Orlando Magic. I will be at the Kia Center Saturday with the Cavaliers in town. Magic back from Germany. Hopefully they can turn things around a bit. A little disappointing. It's a whole thing. But thanks again for making off-season talk thrilling, all you Duval divers. For my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes. This is Kyle Nash, the student of the game. Until next time, everyone, class dismissed.